Richie, first batch of PGRT students. I joined PGRT in 2017 after completing my degree study in polymer engineering. I've met a lot of great lecturers from UniKL, MRB, and PRIM. We also get a chance to go factory visits and to have a real case study discussion during the studies. I've met a lot of new friends throughout the studies and the friendly staff in UniKL. If you have a similar study backgrounds like me in polymer or chemical engineering, PGRT is a good course for you to develop your interest in this industry. However, if you are from different study backgrounds, you don't have to worry about that because there's a bridging module that will help you to explore this industry. So what are you waiting for? Give yourself a chance. Join the PGRT 2021.
Okey. Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Saya Nur Nadia binti Muhammad Yusof, pensyarah kanan di Section of Polymer Engineering Technology, dan hari ini saya selaku moderator anda hari ini untuk membincangkan tajuk iaitu Potential of PGRT for Graduated Student in Covid-19 Pandemic. Okey, sebelum tu saya nak mohon siapa-siapa yang sedang melihat program FB Live hari ini untuk share sebanyak yang mungkin supaya ramai lagi yang boleh dapat informasi dan manfaat daripada sesi perbincangan hari ini. Okey, so sebelum tu saya suka nak cerita serba sedikit tentang UniKL. Okey, so UniKL adalah Universiti Kuala Lumpur. So untuk pengetahuan semua, Universiti Kuala Lumpur ada 12 campuses yang terletak di beberapa negeri di semenanjung Malaysia dan salah satunya adalah di Alor Gajah Melaka. Jadi 12 kampus ini mempunyai pengkhususan yang berbeza. So di Universiti Kuala Lumpur Malaysian Institute of Chemical and Bioengineering Technology yang lebih dikenali sebagai UniKL MySet, pengkhususannya adalah kepada Chemical and Bioengineering Technology. So di UniKL MySet kita offer pelbagai program daripada peringkat foundation, diploma, bachelor, master dan PhD. So jadi siapa-siapa yang mungkin ada ibu bapa yang sedang melihat atau mungkin ada anak-anak lepasan SPM, kalau nak tahu lebih lanjut tentang program yang ditawarkan di UniKL MySet, boleh layari laman web kami iaitu di myset.unikl.edu.my. Okey, tanpa membuang masa, saya ingin memperkenalkan panel kita. Kita ada 4 panel yang hadir pada hari ini bersama-sama dengan saya, iaitu pertama Mr. Pong Kaisi. So panel pertama kita, beliau mempunyai pengalaman lebih 40 tahun dalam bidang rubber teknologi. So beliau pernah memegang pelbagai jawatan dan terkini beliau memegang jawatan sebagai Managing Director di CY Groups Companies. So beliau di samping memegang jawatan sebagai Managing Director, beliau juga memegang jawatan sebagai tenaga pengajar dan aktif menyumbang kepakaran dan ilmu kepada generasi muda termasuk program PGRT. Okey, panel kita yang kedua adalah Dr. Muhammad Aris Ahmad. Beliau juga mempunyai pengalaman hampir 40 tahun dalam bidang rubber teknologi. Sebelum ni beliau pernah berkhidmat sebagai pegawai penyelidik di Lembaga Getah Malaysia dan beliau juga pernah memegang jawatan sebagai pensyarah sambilan di Universiti Kuala Lumpur, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Terkini beliau seorang konsultan kepada industri pembuatan produk getah di Malaysia. Jadi sama juga macam Mr. Pong Kaisi, Dr. Aris juga mempunyai kepakaran dan ilmu yang luas di dalam rubber teknologi dan beliau aktif menyumbang ilmu beliau kepada generasi muda termasuk program PGRT. Beliau juga salah seorang tenaga pengajar di dalam program PGRT. Okey, panel kita yang ketiga adalah Syairah binti Ismail atau alias Musa. Beliau merupakan alumni UniKL MySet. Syairah memiliki Ijazah Sarjana Muda Teknologi Kejuruteraan Kimia dalam bidang polimer pada tahun 2019 dan beliau menyertai program PGRT 2019 sejurus tamat pengajian Ijazah Sarjana Muda. So terkini Syairah memegang jawatan sebagai Laboratory Executive di Latex Partnership Berhad di Perak. Dan panel kita yang comel loteng iaitu Wan Dalila Atiyah, Wan Ibrahim. Beliau juga merupakan alumni UniKL Mindset dan memiliki Ijazah Sarjana Muda Teknologi Kejuruteraan Kimia dalam bidang polimer juga pada tahun 2020. Dan kini selepas tamat pengajian beliau mengikuti program PGRT 2020 dan terkini beliau memegang jawatan sebagai kemis di VIP Glove Sendirian Berhad. Okey, tadi daripada awal saya sebut tentang PGRT. Apa tu PGRT? So PGRT adalah stand for Professional Graduate of Rubber Technology. So PGRT adalah satu program komprehensif 6 bulan dan kita memang buat program PGRT ini adalah hasil usaha sama antara UniKL Mindset dan juga Plastik Rubber Institute Malaysia PRIM. Okey, dan keunikan dan apa yang menariknya program PGRT ini adalah program ini ditaja penuh oleh MRC, Malaysian Rubber Council. Jadi nak kata modul yang disediakan oleh dalam PGRT ini mendapat sentuhan pakar-pakar daripada industri dan tenaga pengajar juga adalah datangnya daripada industri. 90% adalah daripada industri. Okey, tanpa membuang masa, saya ingin menanyakan soalan pertama kepada Mr. Pong Kaisi. Hai Mr. Pong.
Okay, I'm on my speaker. Yes, you hear me?
Yes.
Boleh dengar tak?
Dengar. Okey Mr. Pong. Boleh tak Mr. Pong kongsikan sedikit tentang perkembangan terkini di dalam industri getah ketika dalam keadaan Malaysia ni berhadapan situasi pandemik Covid-19. Silakan Mr. Pong.
Yes, the pandemic has caused good and bad news. The good news is the glove business is really booming and the glove shares created a lot of new millionaires. Some of them are even billionaires. And so there's a huge demand for glove worldwide and the factories coming up in Malaysia alone. I think I look at the data, almost 10 new factories coming up in addition to the 60 which are already in operation. So there's a lot more employment opportunities. For the dry rubber side, maybe not so good, but still most of the factories are still surviving. They're still maintaining, even under MCO. So the jobs are still there. In fact, in the our last course, even though the students graduated right during MCO and during the heat of the pandemic, in 3 months, 75% of the graduates from PGRT have already found permanent jobs. The 2 or 3 who haven't found jobs yet, they have been given offers, but a few of them choose not to accept the offers for personal reasons. So overall, I think the Malaysian rubber industry has been growing. If you look in terms of the value of exports to other countries, the value has gone up quite a lot. It's growing steadily at about 5 to 8%, especially in the glove sector. Last year, 2020 compared to 2019, the growth is like almost double, right? And 2021, we expect another 20% growth in quantity, but in value, of course, because of the higher prices, so it's a lot more. So overall, I think the rubber industry, for us and for our graduates, very, very optimistic. I'm very, very optimistic that they will do well and there will be jobs.
Okay, thank you Mr. Pong. Mr. Pong, boleh tak kamera tu menghala ke muka Mr. Pong? Kami tak nampak.
Okay, I lean back a little bit. Yeah, thank you.
Alright, thank you Mr. Pong. Okay, so kita dah dengar perkongsian daripada pakar kita dalam bidang rubber teknologi menunjukkan perkembangan industri getah ni masih lagi berkembang pesat, lagi-lagi di dalam keadaan pandemik. Permintaan penghasilan glove dan penghantaran ataupun ekspor glove kepada negara yang lain juga tinggi. So kita nampak ya ada demand atau permintaan terhadap teknologi rubber teknologi dan bidang industri getah ni. Okey. Jadi Dr. Aris, selari apa yang diperkatakan ataupun dikongsikan oleh Mr. Pong tadi, bagi pendapat Dr. Aris, adakah program PGRT yang kita laksanakan ni, iaitu hasil usaha sama antara UniKL Mindset dan juga PRIM, Plastik Rubber Institute Malaysia, memenuhi kehendak industri getah pada hari ini. Lebih-lebih lagi dalam keadaan kita berhadapan situasi pandemik hari ini. Silakan Dr. Aris.
Okey, terima kasih Dr. Nur Nadia. Assalamualaikum semua dan good afternoon everybody. Please allow me to answer the question in English. Anyway, we reference to the we reference to the question raised by Dr. Nadia as to whether the PGRT program fulfills the current industry requirement. I would say yes, indeed, because the elements that the committee has put in the design of the syllabus are geared towards the preparation of students, especially for those who are really interested in acquiring employment in the rubber industry, especially in the rubber product manufacturing sectors. Every year before the start of the course, the PGRT committee normally discuss the program, the elements put in the syllabus before it's being lectured to the students, and improve on the elements put in so as to accommodate the current situation or the current needs of the rubber industry. On the actual subject matter, I will discuss this a bit later. Okay. And to add to what Dr. Nadia has mentioned, that this course actually, the PGRT program, collaboration between both PRM and Mindset, covers 6 months postgraduate, what we call it, program. And it comprises of, as Dr. Nadia has mentioned, first 2 months of intensive classroom lectures. And the balance 4 months is in an industrial training or internship in an approved industrial environment. Okay, every year prior to 2020, all classroom lectures were conducted at Mindset Alukajam Melaka. Unfortunately, starting from March last year, because of the pandemic Covid-19, and because of MCO, where traveling across states are not allowed, lectures will continue. We still continue, but conducted virtually via web-based. For the course this year, I'm optimistic. Again, I think with the current situation, it will still be the same, I guess, where classroom lectures will still be via web-based until the situation changes for the better, I suppose. For everybody's information, PGRT is a good platform for graduates of the following field, whether they come from chemical engineering, polymer engineering, polymer technology, material engineering, and any other sciences-based courses. But when they want to embark their career in the polymer industry, especially in the rubber product manufacturing industry, they will need further enhancements in their knowledge in the rubber technology. So this is where we designed the course to suit the current needs of the industry. So I leave it to that for the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Banyak perkongsian yang dikongsikan oleh Dr. Aris tadi memang sangat jelas. Okey, untuk pengetahuan anda semua, PGRT ni adalah satu modul yang kita memang sit down ataupun duduk bersama dengan industri. So modul ni adalah berbeza dengan program yang ditawarkan di peringkat Ijazah Sarjana Muda. Jadi memang kita dapat sentuhan, modul ni memang dapat sentuhan daripada industri. Adakah ilmu yang terdapat di dalam modul ini memenuhi keperluan industri getah. Jadi memang kita bekerja rapat dengan industri, dengan pakar-pakar daripada industri. Okey. Kita beralih kepada Syairah. So Syairah, mungkin ramai yang nak tahu apakah kelebihan program PGRT yang kamu boleh kongsikan pada semua orang dan kenapa kamu memilih untuk menyertai program PGRT ni? Silakan Syairah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning, good afternoon, sorry. Bolehkah kalau saya cakap mix Malay English?
Boleh, tak ada masalah.
Okay, santai-santai je kan? Okay, so bagi saya program ni, at first sebab saya join batch yang ketiga, jadi agak awal lagi. So tak ramai sangat yang tahu dan tak ramai yang join program ni. Jadi bagi saya ni adalah satu peluang yang mana kita boleh fokus and boleh dapat sesuatu yang lebih daripada orang. Sebab macam kita tahu, graduan yang terlahir sekarang ni orang kata semuanya yang sangat-sangat hebat. For flat tu boleh dikatakan terlalu banyak. So apa yang membuatkan kita berbeza dengan yang lain bila kita ada something add-on value. So dengan menyertai program ni, sebenarnya telah tambah satu value dekat diri saya sendiri untuk menjadi yang lain. Orang kata ada kelainan dibandingkan dengan graduan-graduan lain. Dan program ni juga berjalan selama hanya 6 bulan. Tidak lama. So untuk tempoh 6 bulan selepas graduate adalah satu tempoh yang di mana orang lain mungkin struggle mencari kerja. Yang mana yang rezeki awal dia akan dapat kerja awal. Tapi yang mana yang struggle untuk mencari kerja ni, ini adalah peluang yang terbaik. Satu platform yang terbaik untuk kita start grab new knowledge and related to industry. Sebab sepanjang program ni berjalan, apa yang kita belajar sangat-sangat relate to industry. Sebab lecturer yang datang sini adalah lecturer daripada industri. So kita tak rasa terasing dengan industri. So memang siapa-siapa sahaja yang mana-mana adik-adik yang tengok live ni, so tolong letak satu pilihan untuk join PGRT dalam wishlist korang. Sebab sangat banyak peluang-peluang menarik yang akan korang belajar during the program. Okay.
Okey. Terima kasih Syairah atas perkongsian tu. Okey, memang ada banyak kelebihan program PGRT. Untuk pengetahuan semua, program PGRT ni bukan diadakan sekarang. Program PGRT ni telah dilaksanakan pada tahun 2017. So dah masuk 4 tahun program PGRT telah dilaksanakan. So dah ada beberapa batch pelajar-pelajar yang telah kita hasilkan daripada program PGRT which is Professional Graduate of Rubber Technology. Okey, Wanda Lila. Wanda Lila, rata-rata kan ramai graduan yang telah tamat pengajian Ijazah Sarjana Muda akan memilih untuk mencari pekerjaan. Okey, jadi pada Wanda Lila pula, kenapa Wanda Lila tangguh untuk cari pekerjaan dan memilih untuk menyertai program ini? Silakan Wanda Lila.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Terima kasih Nadia. So pertama sekali, okay. Sepatutnya saya join program ni masa saya lepas diploma. Okay. Sebab masa tu program ni bukan nama PGRT tapi G-Prim, kalau tak silap saya. So tapi masa tu kita experience scholarship problem. So kita decide untuk tak proceed dengan program ni sebab scholarship issue. And then years by years kita tengok senior punya batch, dia orang punya success story. So kita dah letak mindset, kita letak wishlist macam kata Syairah tu, okay nak kena join program PGRT ni. So jadi bila Dr. Ong war-warkan pendaftaran untuk program PGRT, so saya memang terus join. Ini pun macam membawa kekecewaan lalu lah sebab tak dapat join masa diploma dulu. Okay, selain daripada tu, masa saya buat diploma di company yang buat rubber product, buat rubber o-ring, buat rubber damper, some engineers dihantar untuk join program ni. So ni macam bagi saya a strong point yang people from industry pun join this program. So Maksudnya program ni adalah satu program yang bagus. Okey. Jadi daripada 6 bulan saya spend kat rumah cari kerja, why not saya join this program untuk bagi saya extra point compare to other candidate. Itu saja.
Okey. Terima kasih Wan Dalila atas perkongsian daripada Wan Dalila. Okey, Mr. Pong. Alright, tadi kita dah dengar perkongsian daripada pelajar-pelajar PGRT yang telah menyertai program PGRT. Okey, memandangkan Mr. Pong juga merupakan salah seorang tenaga pengajar program PGRT ni dan juga a key player which is pemain utama di dalam industri getah. Boleh tak Mr. Pong kongsikan sedikit dengan penonton tentang kebolehpasaran graduan dalam industri getah setelah mereka tamat program PGRT ni?
Yes, I've said a little bit about that earlier because I said, the past graduates since 2017, all the graduates from the earlier courses have all found full employment, and I'm very happy to say that we have met our objectives of keeping them in the rubber manufacturing industry or in rubber industry in general, right? Except for one particular person who seems to be brighter and maybe more ambitious, and he's gone on to do his PhD in Tokyo, Japan. So that is the only exception in the sense that he didn't stay on and become part of the manufacturing industry. So up to 2019, every person who has taken the course has found employment. Okay, and to look at it, maybe I should explain it in a slightly different way. The reason why we started the PGRT grad PRIM program. It all started, I was discussing with Professor Azanam, who was the Dean of MySet at that time, I think. And we were talking, and I invited him to participate in a forum on education and the training needs of the industry. So during that forum, we had people from industry, we got representatives from IKM, we have representatives from the Product Manufacturers Association, and so on. And the comment that they made was that the fresh graduates from the universities, even the polymer engineering graduates, need to be trained before they could contribute to whichever factory that they joined. And during this period of training, the factories commented that they have to spare people to do the training. And so two undesirable effects exist. One, the time taken by the worker. So you're actually taking a productive worker to train a new worker. So two people are involved. And the second effect is that the new graduate find things a bit frustrating because he has to go for training, and not always he has find that his superior or supervisor has time to teach him. So they get frustrated because they want to learn, but nobody teach them. And that was how we devised this PGRT program. It's a bridging program. It benefits the factories because it takes away the need for them to allocate somebody, assign somebody to train the fresh graduate. And it also pleased the graduate because instead of feeling frustrated, not learning about how the manufacturing and how the factory situation is, and learning rubber technology, because many of these detailed aspects are not taught at university, she now has the more friendly and more convenient environment to learn this. And the 2-month course that we have, well, even though it's a short period of 2 months, it's very intensive because we're talking of non-stop lectures for 6 hours every day for 2 whole months. So it's a very intensive and very comprehensive program. And the feedback that we got is from the employer. Very happy because they don't need to train, and that the fresh graduates, the PGRT graduates that they get, they're able to fit in almost immediately with minimum of guidance. And for the PGRT graduates, when they go into a factory, because during the 6 months, not only did they have the 2 months intense theory, they also have a 4 months internship. And so they get involved with the manufacturing environment. So when they go into a factory, and usually a quite high percentage, the factory they go and do the internship also employ them, stay back and get employment in the factory where they do the internship. So they're familiar with the environment. So it's very easy for them to fit in as well. So it's a win-win for both parties. And I think that is the real marriage of the PGRT program. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pong. So saya sangat suka perkongsian daripada Mr. Pong. Mr. Pong kata pelajar-pelajar yang mengikuti program PGRT bila mereka masuk ke dalam industri, so sangat minimum guidance. So pelajar-pelajar ni dia dah familiar, dia dah expose dengan keadaan industri yang sebenar. Sebab itu antara objektif kami menghasilkan program PGRT ni, kita dapatkan tenaga pengajar daripada industri sendiri. So mereka akan bagi exposure kepada pelajar-pelajar yang menyertai program PGRT. Okey. Terima kasih Mr. Pong. Alright, Dr. Aris. Boleh tak Dr. Aris share sedikit tentang feedback yang diterima daripada pihak industri tentang prestasi pelajar-pelajar di dalam industri getah setelah mereka menyertai program PGRT? Ada tak feedback yang kita boleh kongsikan kepada penonton daripada industri sendiri?
Okay, terima kasih Dr. Nadia. Actually, throughout the PGRT program, yes, the internship that we put in for 4 months is a very important part of the experience required. And a lot of the things said by Mr. Pong is very valid in the sense that now the students who are in place in where they are having the internships, they are well prepared, more or less, and willing to give ideas or initiative in their work, where if this happens to have any problems encountered during their process of doing their task projects, they are able, using their knowledge acquired while attending their lectures, they can apply practically. In fact, how we know that? We have representatives from the PRM and also my set who visited the companies where the students were having their training, normally halfway during their training, so as to meet the students themselves and their supervisors to discuss and to monitor, the performance of the students, the progress made by them, and if there's any problem during that period, we try to iron out, to then so that the problem doesn't stays until they finish their program and nothing was done then. So in fact, myself, even Mr. Pong Pakasi himself, those involved in these visits to meet the companies and talk to the supervisors and ask ideas. And most of them, they were very satisfied. They were very encouraging, give positive feedback to say that, majority of the students are proactive, full of initiative, and also disciplined. Okay. And it should be noted that the industry that we chose, actually, manufacturers, they are large manufacturers, well-established and stable manufacturers. So, and some of them were so happy to get the internship of this student. They, immediately, as Mr. Pong says, immediately take them as their staff upon completion of the internship. So indirectly, or rather directly, the PGRT program has actually, although 2 months only lectures, but being intensive and comprehensive in the lectures, in the elements that we put in the syllabus, that helps a lot in the career path for this student. Thank you.
Alright. Terima kasih Dr. Aris. Okay, So kita nampak lihat dengan jelas tentang program PGRT ni memang sangat menitik berat tentang ilmu yang kita nak bagi pada pelajar-pelajar. So salah satu modul yang kita ada di dalam program PGRT ni adalah critical thinking. So memang kita develop ataupun kita expose student how to think. Okay, so maksud saya industri daripada orang-orang industri ini memang menekankan tentang critical thinking kepada pelajar-pelajar. Sebab itu pelajar-pelajar yang lahir daripada program PGRT memang boleh survive di dalam industri. Okey, Syairah. Syairah merupakan alumni PGRT 2019. So pada ketika itu masih lagi belum ada kes Covid-19. Jadi di awal tahun 2020 ketika itu Syairah akan mencari pekerjaan. Setelah menyertai program PGRT. Jadi Syairah boleh tak share tentang pengalaman Syairah? Apa cabaran yang Syairah lalui setelah menyertai program PGRT, tapi pada tahun 2020 kita hadapi kes pandemik Covid-19. Jadi ada tak cabaran yang Syairah hadapi? Boleh tak Syairah kongsikan?
Okey, terima kasih Doktor. Okey, cabaran tu memang ada, orang kata apa, efek lah kan kat kita. Tapi Alhamdulillah semasa akhir program, kiranya during kita punya internship, saya sendiri perform the best. Maksudnya during internship tu sendiri, kita jangan anggap kita hanyalah seorang student yang just nak undergo internship, practical. Tapi kita cuba untuk letak diri kita sebagai the real staff, the real working environment. Sebab kita tahu kita punya tujuan di dalam program ni, bila habis dia kita nak cari kerja untuk mendapatkan pekerjaan. So apa yang saya buat masa tu adalah saya cuba mendetakkan diri saya sebagai seorang staff. And Alhamdulillah, masa saya dalam seminggu sebelum saya tamat saya punya praktikal, saya punya HOD ada panggil and tanya either saya nak ataupun tak untuk diorang serap sebagai permanent staff di situ. Tapi at that moment kilang tu tak ada, masa tu saya praktikal di Toyota Yes Malaysia, Perak. So at that moment tak ada kekosongan dalam saya punya department sebenarnya. Tapi disebabkan oleh apa yang kita tunjuk, kemampuan yang kita tunjuk, yang kita dapat daripada sepanjang program, yang kita bawa, yang kita orang kata dah belajar kan, so kita kena amalkan benda tu, kita tunjuk balik, lahirkan balik apa yang kita dah belajar. So benda tu kita mungkin pihak department sendiri nampak. So this student ada kebolehan. And Alhamdulillah diorang tawarkan untuk jawatan engineer compounding masa tu, tapi sebagai kontrak sebab masih lagi belum ada kekosongan. Tapi apa yang saya nak cuba tunjuk kat sini, bila mana peluang tu kita yang perlu kita cuba untuk create. Bila kita dah belajar, sebab apa yang kita belajar during this program adalah the real situasi macam mana dekat industri. So tak semestinya 100% based on teori. Apa yang berlaku dalam industri tak semestinya based on 100% dalam buku. So bagusnya program ni, kalau kata dalam zaman degree kita akan belajar based on teori. Tapi bila kita belajar dalam program short course ni, dia ada selitkan real situation dalam industri di mana kita masuk industri, so kita tak culture shock. So kita dah ada gambaran macam mana industri itu sebenarnya berlaku. So Alhamdulillah, cuma rezeki saya tak panjang di Toyota Yes sebab disebabkan pandemik itu sendiri, mereka terpaksa mengurangkan kaki tangan. So after saya habis tamat saya punya kontrak, within 1 month saya dapat another job. Alhamdulillah, tak lama. So saya dapat panggil untuk bekerja di kilang latex partnership, iaitu kilang pemprosesan sarung tangan. Di mana sekarang ni memang orang kata top punya investment adalah kepada sarung tangan. Ya. Yeah. So apa yang saya nak cuba tunjukkan di sini, mungkin di luar sana kalau kata kita tak ada specialnya program ni, mungkin orang nampak kita sama je dengan mana-mana graduan. So bila kat situ dia dah ada yang saya cakap tadi lah, add on value. Itu yang penting. Dan yang penting apa yang kita belajar kita praktikkan balik. Itu yang menyebabkan orang cakap kelebihan dekat diri kita sendiri. So jangan risau kalau kata mungkin ada yang rasa macam saya tak adalah pandai sangat, saya tak adalah bijak sangat 4 flat. No, tak semestinya anda perlu dapat 4 flat untuk anda dapat satu pekerjaan yang untuk anda. Macam tu.
Okey. Sangat menarik perkongsian daripada Syairah. Saya suka setelah dia tamat ataupun tamat kontrak daripada satu syarikat, tapi tidak lama kemudian tu dia dapat pekerjaan yang baru. So tak perlu tunggu lama. So nak katakan memang kita equip pelajar-pelajar kita ni supaya boleh cari peluang. Macam mana kita nak survive di dalam industri. Okey, terutama dalam industri getah. Okey, Wan Dalila. Bagi Wan Dalila pula, apa cabaran yang Wan Dalila hadapi sepanjang mengikuti program PGRT ni di waktu keadaan kita berhadapan situasi pandemik Covid-19? Sebab Wan Dalila ni adalah alumni PGRT 2020. Waktu tu memang peak situasi Covid-19. Jadi apa cabaran Wan Dalila hadapi? Silakan.
Terima kasih Doktor. Okey, apa yang saya boleh katakan, pelajar pada musim pandemik ni sangat mencabar bagi kedua-dua pihak, iaitu pelajar dan juga pengajar. So contohnya macam Dr. Aris punya sesi kita tak ada sempat buat online class. Tapi untuk Mr. Pong kita ada online class, so I know dia tahu betapa struggle-nya untuk deliver the knowledge disebabkan limitation untuk face to face. Tapi bagi saya yang paling affected dalam keadaan ni adalah pelajar yang bukan daripada polimer background. Jadi untuk pengetahuan, program PGRT ni bukan sahaja untuk pelajar daripada background polimer. Kalau kita daripada background proses, daripada environment, daripada food pun kita boleh join PGRT. Dan PGRT ni bukan sahaja untuk UniKL student. Universiti lain pun boleh join PGRT dan tahun sebelum ni kita ada daripada University of Queensland Australia, kita ada daripada UMP. Jadi kalau bukan UniKL, bukan polimer student pun boleh join program ni. Okay, balik pada topik tadi. Okay, contohnya untuk student yang bukan polimer background, contohnya lecturer dah ajar A, B, C, D. Tapi they are still struggling untuk faham the term, the process untuk A dengan B tadi. So bagi saya, diorang lah lagi affected. Dan untuk polimer student juga, apa yang belajar dalam PGRT ni dia go deeper into application. Kita belajar go deeper into tire application, the condom, the glove. Jadi dia berbeza dengan diploma dan degree yang kita belajar secara teori dan secara basic, secara surface. So sebagai contohnya masa kelas Dr. Aris ada bawa produk, ada bawa prototype. Jadi bila kita student, dia lagi senang untuk faham sebab kita boleh connectkan apa yang doktor ajar. Okay. Hello?
Ya, okey.
Okay. Dengan produk yang doktor bawa. Dan keduanya, kita have challenging time masa praktikal. Sebab masa praktikal tu kita have time limitation, kita nak cepat. So for my friend yang bukan polymer background, they are affected sebab diorang nak connect apa yang belajar dalam kelas dengan apa yang kita buat dalam lab. Jadi they takes time untuk faham the situation, but I'm proud of them sebab diorang take extra effort untuk jumpa kita student yang polimer ni untuk tanya apa yang diorang tak faham dalam kelas. Itu saja.
Okey. Terima kasih Wan Dalila. Okey so daripada perkongsian Wan Dalila, saya nak ringkaskan sikit untuk program PGRT ni pada pelajar-pelajar yang background bukan chemical engineering, bukan polymer engineering, contohnya pelajar background daripada proses ataupun bio, juga boleh apply program ni asalkan nak belajar ke tidak. Itu saja. Okey. Alright. So kita berehat sebentar untuk bagi laluan iklan.
Cepat.
Ada ke? Alright. Okay, so kita dah masuk kepada round ketiga. Alright, so Dr. Aris, so yang ini soalan untuk Dr. Aris dulu. Okay, boleh tak Dr. Aris kongsikan apakah elemen-elemen penting yang dimasukkan di dalam modul PGRT? Jadi apakah modul yang kita hasilkan ni dapat memenuhi permintaan ataupun keperluan industri getah?
Okay, terima kasih Doktor. Actually, rubber technology is in general is a very wide subject. You know, it combines the science, the skills of converting raw rubber into useful products. Yeah. So the importance of science normally able to predict processing behavior, able to predict service performance, and able to predict the service life of a product. Then the importance of skills, however, can be achieved through better knowledge of the subject and through experience. Yeah, okay. So basically, there are two processes of converting raw rubber into rubber product manufacturing. One is via the dry rubber process. Secondly is via the latex process, latex manufacturing process. And both of these processes are with the product manufacturers in Malaysia, actually. Okay, so taking into consideration these factors and the elements that we put, or rather the committee put into the design syllabus, focus towards giving in-depth knowledge and also skill towards providing students to be able to be well equipped before they embark themselves into the industry. Okay. For the first batch of PGRT, at that time it's called GPRIM, okay, in the year 2015, the program focused more or less on simple modules, where the modules are divided into polymer science, rubber processing and manufacturing, and then rubber materials. However, starting from 2017, the committee decided then to meet the needs of the industry, we break down the syllabus and put in elements and group these elements into four modules. And these modules are named as bridging modules, the common modules, advanced module, and the soft skill modules. Okay, so these four modules are currently being used in this PGRT program. And as I mentioned earlier, the fresh graduate entering the PGRT course comes from various disciplines, and also as mentioned by Wanda Lila just now. Yeah, there are various disciplines in science and technology, not necessarily for polymer technology. So, if I'm not mistaken, currently there are no university in Malaysia provide full rubber technology course anymore. Okay, so my guess is that most of them will probably provide one small subjects or one small credit to this rubber technology program. Since the module that we devised, I will a bit discuss further. For example, like module A, the bridging module focus on to prepare the students towards having better knowledge on what rubber science and technology is. It includes the typical polymer chemistry and polymer physics. Yeah, and hopefully all students will understand the structure property relationships, basic concepts of polymerization, mechanism and techniques, properties of polymers, and some aspects of polymer testing and also characterization. Okay, and module B, for example, the common modules will focus on rubber materials, rubber processing. Here, the student will be required to acquire knowledge about various types of rubber, be it natural or synthetic, their grades, characteristics, or difficulties in processing or whatever, be familiar with various component ingredients incorporated into the rubber, their specifications and standard, including their storage, shelf life, hazardous nature, and safe handling system. So the students will also be required to understand the basic processing and processability, and to be familiar with the formulation design for specific products. So this is covered in Module B. And it also required to be familiar with latex, types of latex, the grades, characteristics, and progression of their latex compounds, and also in testing. So and also we include a bit, because in rubber sometimes we do rubber blends and also rubber composites. So we also include that sub elements into the syllabus of the raw materials. And we hope also PGRT will be able to let the student understand the concept and importance of quality and quality management system, and as well as product quality and safe working conditions. Okay, so Module C concentrate on the advanced module. The student will be required to have knowledge about manufacturing of major rubber products, be it from latex or dry rubber, and it is expected that the student will understand the flow process of the manufacturing involving the raw materials, their functions, the building of the rubber products, and vulcanization. In other words, the student will be expected to know if they are in the real situation in the industry. And they are expected, in this syllabus as well, they will be taught to troubleshoot when problem arises, for example, in the fabrication techniques of molding, extrusion, or even calendaring. And the last module on the soft skill is to prepare students for good attitudes and be responsible when they started working and exposed to real factory conditions. So a more detail of these subject matters will be distributed to the students when they enroll for this course later on. Thank you.
Alright, thank you very much Dr. Aris. Memang sangat padat. So banyak elemen-elemen yang kita masukkan di dalam program PGRT, daripada soft skill, daripada hard skills, okay, daripada hands-on. So semua tu kita cover di dalam modul PGRT. So 2 bulan untuk intensif secara teori. So 4 bulan pelajar-pelajar akan mengikuti internship. Okay, di kilang, di mana-mana kilang. Okay. So Mr. Pong, ini adalah antara soalan-soalan yang ditunggulah oleh para pelajar. Mungkin ada yang pelajar lepasan Ijazah Sarjana Muda yang mungkin ada niat untuk nak join the program. So dalam situasi sekarang, Mr. Pong, so bagaimana peluang pekerjaan yang ditawarkan? So adakah masih lagi ada demand khususnya di dalam industri latex dan getah untuk pelajar-pelajar yang menyertai program PGRT?
Yes, definitely. As I said earlier, the rubber technology has not been taught, this is the point that Dr. Aris raised too, in any university for some time now. When I first started teaching rubber, I was attached to Institute Mara Technology in Kuala Lumpur. And they had a very comprehensive program on rubber technology. But that was almost 20 years ago. And the same thing, after I left KI, I actually went up to Penang. And my wife and I, we were both with University Science Malaysia. And at that time, the course was not called Polymer Engineering or Polymer Science and Material. It was virtually rubber technology and rubber science. And so there was taught at that level for many years now, and I think this has been going on. The universities broadened their base, and as they broadened their base, they taught more principles, and the details have been left out. So material science and polymer technology becomes generally just material engineering, material science. So you're having now not just polymer or just rubber, you're actually doing so many other materials, right? So the whole thing has been diluted in one sense. Okay, but in another sense, it become very broadened. They want to make the graduates more employable. But for individual graduates, when they go into an individual industry, they find that they're very challenged because they don't know enough in detail in that particular industry. Particularly, this is where our course try to address this by doing the PGRT centered on the rubber. Right, but at the same time, because of this neglect for a while, and don't forget the PGRT has only been running for about 4 years. Okay, and the earlier version, the graduateship of the PRIM, only 1 year. Right, so there's still a huge hole, if you like, a huge gap, an emptiness. It has to be fulfilled. Right, in fact. What is most in demand now, especially when the glove factories come out online and also the existing glove companies expand, and the Top Glove, for example, the #1 glove manufacturer, right? 2 years ago they had 38 factories. Now they're talking to have 58 factories. So from 38 to 58, the difference is 20 more factories. 20 more factories. Each factory requires production people, quality people, technologists, and so on. So how many graduates you need? All right. So the demand is actually fantastic. But at the same time, most of these factories says, I don't want to train. So they're looking for experienced people. Okay. So somebody like Shaira, and your predecessor who has been maybe extra 1 more year in industry, they now becomes in huge demand because the experience is so much needed. And so exactly what I said at the very beginning, the job opportunities in rubber product manufacturing are there. Okay, and especially if you are one of those who can stick with the hardship of the first 2-3 years and becomes a skilled technologist and a skill manager, and you could learn all these other hard skills as well as soft skills, then your value goes up tremendously. Just one example. In my factory, I had a couple of rubber technologies, some of them relatively fresh, 3 years, 4 years, that sort of thing, and some of them about 8 years. All right. So from starting pay of maybe 2,000-3,000 beginners pay, many of them now are earning in excess of 5,000-6,000 because of that. The skills are needed, and we pay them because we don't want to lose them. Right? If I lose my present technologies to train another one, requires another 4 years. I don't have 4 years to waste to train another one. So I rather pay my technologies a lot more money, make sure that he's happy, and he doesn't leave. So yes, the demand is there, and also the promotion prospects are there, and I think that there are very good prospects for going higher because the limitation is not just about rubber or rubber technology, because these factories also require managers, they require divisional managers, senior managers, and so on. So as you become more skillful and you have more experience, these are the opportunities to go up to senior management.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, Mr. Pong.
Thank you.
Okay, so kita dapat dengar tentang demand pekerjaan di dalam bidang industri getah ni masih ada. So saya suka nak pinjam kata-kata daripada Mr. Pong, industry looking for the experienced person. So PGRT, when you join our program, which is PGRT, so PGRT is one of the platform yang 6 bulan untuk enhance your skill. It's not 100% enhanced, but when you get the experience or knowledge from the expertise from industry, so hopefully that you can get the knowledge, the value added from the industry. So hopefully that from there you have the experience and then you can survive in the industry. So okay, so industry are looking for the experienced person. Alright, so next kita jemput Associate Professor Dr. Ong untuk menerangkan secara ringkas tentang program PGRT. Okay, kita dah tahu dah apa dia kelebihan PGRT, apa dia potensi PGRT. So kita nak tahu macam mana nak apply program PGRT ni. So kita jemput Dr. Ong untuk terangkan sedikit tentang program PGRT. Silakan Dr. Ong.
Okay, thank you Dr. Nadia. To explain the whole process, I guess it's easier for me to show this. So what you actually need to do after have listening to all the panels, our alumni speaking on that, I think first thing you need to do is quickly scan this QR code over here now, so that once that you have scanned this QR code over here, then we can actually process your application. Then based on the criteria that is listed down here, we can actually process your application and then proceed with sending the offer letter over to you, so that you can actually proceed with the MRC scholarship application, and then join us on 23rd of August for PGRT 2021. This is a simple process of application. Thank you, Dr. Nadia. There's a simple one that I have over here.
Okay. Thank you Dr. Ong. So pada siapa-siapa yang berminat untuk join PGRT, so boleh contact Dr. Ong, Associate Professor Dr. Ong, ataupun contact saya Dr. Nur Nadia. Boleh juga melayari laman website kami. So kita ada contact numbers tentang PGRT ni. Okay. So kita dah masuk ke round 4. This is the last round. Okay, so sekarang masa sangat-sangat mencemburui kita. So Mr. Pong, boleh tak Mr. Pong bagi rumusan potensi program PGRT ni kepada graduan di waktu pandemik ni secara rumus? Dr. Ong, Mr. Pong, boleh
Okay, sorry. It's a difficult time because fresh graduates are having problems. They come out and then they try to apply, and many other industries and businesses are facing problems, facing lockdown. So management are very reluctant at this moment to take in fresh graduates, with the exception, as I said, of the latex industry and the glove industry and some of these other industries that are doing extremely well now during the pandemic. Okay? So one of the ways which the fresh graduate can prepare himself and get value added and increase his skills, enhance his value is by joining the PGRT program, because number one, you actually get allowances while you are studying. So you may be not earning as much as if you were getting a job, but if you're waiting to get a job until the pandemic blows over, then this is a good way to prepare yourself. And then after you have finished the 6 months course, you can try to fit yourself into the latex side of things. And there are a lot of jobs now coming up because there are so many new factories coming up as well, as I said. So yes, I think the overall, in the present climate, I think you can do a lot worse by going somewhere else, basically. So I say, yes, you have nothing to lose and you have everything to gain by joining PGRT.
Betul, saya sangat setuju dengan kata-kata Mr. Pong. Kita tak rugi, kalau kita join kita tak rugi, tapi kita boleh dapat ilmu yang baru. Okay, so Dr. Aris, boleh Dr. Aris rumuskan adakah program ni masih lagi relevan dalam industri and then terutama di dalam keadaan pandemic situation ni?
Okay, terima kasih Dr. Nadia. Yeah, in fact, as Mr. Pong already said it earlier, the rubber product manufacturing industry is still very active actually, especially the latex-based manufacturing sector. However, for the dry rubber product manufacturing sector, the growth is a bit slow. However, on the industrial and engineering rubber products, where they are normally large, bulky products, there are a lot of rubbers are being used, and they are very complicated in terms of process of vulcanization, process of feeding in those into the molds, etc. You know, so I think the market for both these product sectors are still there. Yeah, still there. And in fact, if we look into the statistics given by MRB at the moment, you know, there are still over 400 rubber product manufacturers in Malaysia. So they are still there, you know. So my feeling is that the rubber industry still needs lots of local, knowledgeable and new breed of young people, you know, with proper qualification in the rubber technology to be in the rubber industry. Okay, so my conclusion is that PGRC is still relevant and it should continue. However, the topics that the lecturers deliberate must keep in phase with the current technology and requirement of the industry. Thank you.
Okey, terima kasih Dr. Aris. Right, so kepada Syaira, boleh tak Syaira bagi kata-kata semangat ataupun nasihat kepada adik-adik di luar sana untuk join program PGRT?
Okey, terima kasih Doktor. So untuk adik-adik yang tengah join live ni, apa yang saya boleh cakap based on my own experience, so saya rasa program ni adalah satu peluang keemasan yang mungkin tak akan dapat dekat mana-mana. Sebab saya rasa PGRT ni saya pernah dengar program yang macam ni, kita pernah dengar collaboration hanya dengan UniKL Mindset. And peluang yang ada dalam program PGRT sangat-sangatlah bagus. Dan macam Dr. Aris cakap, Mr. Pogais pun cakap, peluang pekerjaan dalam bidang industri getah dan susu getah sangat-sangat demand, especially susu getah sekarang. So dia takkan pernah mati. In every single day of our life, kita menggunakan barang-barang yang diperbuat daripada polimer itself. So dia tak akan pernah mati. Pergilah mana-mana industri sendiri pun tetap akan memerlukan industri polimer. So jangan pernah rasa takut bahawa kalau join program ni, aku tertumpu kepada buat sarung tangan sahaja, buat tayar sahaja. No. It's more than that. It's limitless. So jangan kecilkan fikiran kita hanya anggap just kena buat tayar, kena buat sarung tangan. No. Come and join first and you will feel the difference in polymer. Okay, dan saya rasa program ni sangat bagus sebab anda berpeluang mendapat scholarship di mana 100% tanggung. Just datang, belajar. Kalau macam sekarang mungkin kelas online, so hanya perlu duduk di rumah dan everything been sponsored. So sangat-sangat simple benda tu, antara nak ataupun tak. So pilihan terletak di tangan kita sama ada untuk mencipta peluang baru ataupun untuk remain at the same stage. Okay, itu je.
Okay, terima kasih Syaira. Very good sharing dan kata-kata nasihat. Okay, Wan Dalila, boleh share kata-kata semangat dan nasihat?
Okay, dari saya, take this opportunity sebab macam Syaira cakap, sponsor. Dan satu lagi, this is a good opportunity sebab sekarang we can see that semua orang is IR 4.0, kita nak fully automated. So ini peluang kita kalau you ada IT punya background atau proses control. Macam company besar, contohnya macam Hatta Lega, they required person dalam bidang proses control ni, dalam bidang IT. Dan macam polimer ni, kebanyakan student polimer kita akan lebih tertumpu kepada R&D. Jadi untuk pelajar-pelajar yang lain proses, dia akan lebih kepada production. Kalau untuk student environment, dia lebih kepada study waste. Jadi kalau join PGRT ni bukan maknanya kena duduk lab. Kalau jenis yang tak suka duduk lab, tak naklah join PGRT kena duduk lab. Tak. Dia punya scope tu besar sebab dalam PGRT ni kita belajar juga mengenai akta-akta, Environment Act. Dan selain itu saya rasa program ni the best thing about program ni yang aku nak join is about the experience. So masa saya start career, bila saya start kerja, saya experience a hard time sebab kita orang baru and banyak benda yang tak tahu. Saya banyak sangat refer dengan Dr. Ong untuk ISO standard. Saya banyak tanya Dr. Aris tentang schedule waste and dia orang sangat helpful. Jadi Jangan kata okey dah habis program, lecturernya akan lepas tangan. Tak, kita boleh consult dengan diorang, tanya macam mana sampai selagi diorang tak kenakan bayaran. Betul tak? Okey, itu je dari saya.
Okey, terima kasih semua panel.
Yeah, you should join the Plastic and Rubber Institute as well. Then you become part of the bigger family. Ask Dr. Ari. So we rubber and polymer people, we are actually part of a much bigger family. And,
Right.
and that family is the Plastic and Rubber Institute. So you then keep in touch with each other, and also social interaction as well, not just academic interaction or professional interaction. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you very much. And congratulate Shaira and congratulate Dalila, because you are fantastic students, and especially Shaira, you from dry rubber, from running a banbury, and now to be doing gloves.
Yes, very versatile.
I mean, that is so versatile, but this just shows, that how in some ways, Dr. Aris has devised a very good program, because it is universal in the sense that it applies to so many different sectors of polymer and rubber. So I appreciate what you say, Shaira. Don't just think in terms of glove, all right? So polymer is a very broad subject, and from there you can go into automation, you can go into processes, you can go into process engineering. In fact, I just talked to somebody who's a rubber technologist. He said, I'm going into heat exchange because I'm trying to recover all the heat that is lost in the leach water in the gloves.
Yes.
So, it's up to you. There's so many things that you can go into.
Okay. Alright. So, kita dapat lihat personal coach terus secara live ni. So, pelajar-pelajar yang belajar di dalam program PGRT ni, memang mereka walaupun dah habis ataupun tamat pengajian di dalam program PGRT, mereka tetap juga close contact dengan tenaga pengajar daripada industri. So, boleh lihat di dalam secara live ni, personal coach daripada Mr. Pong Kaisi terhadap Syaira dan juga Wan Dalila. Okay, so berakhir sudah perbincangan kita tentang potential of PGRT for graduated students in Covid-19 pandemic. So hopefully semua orang boleh dapat manfaat dan informasi daripada perbincangan hari ini. So berkemungkinan kita akan jumpa lagi di kemudian hari. So saya minta maaf di atas segala kekurangan. Saya mohon semua orang stay safe and jaga SOP. Okey, dengan itu saya ucap Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Bye-bye.
Salam, terima kasih. Bye.
Bye. Keep safe.
Bye. Yeah, be safe.
You too, Mr. Pong.